everyone, and welcome to the Cincinnati Cabinet of Curiosities. I am your host, Kat Klockow, and today with me I have Kalagayan and Dylan Speeg. Hi, guys.
Hello, how are you? How are you doing?
Doing well. Little toasty here today in Cincinnati. Little humid. Can't wait for fall, but we have you on to speak about your story, Mermaids of the Ohio River. And I particularly love this because it is a cryptid that is special to the tri-state area. Now, what made you two interested in writing about the mermaids?
So what's great is there's a group in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Comic Creators, where this branched off of, where monthly creators get together and just talk about books, talk about best practices, talk about Comic Cons, talk about illustration and techniques and everything. And kind of this group branched off with the Cincinnati Legends. And honestly, we were talking about doing a project, and we were talking about the local myths. And what really appealed to me was the idea of this, the idea of mermaids in the Ohio River. So that came up, and I was fascinated. So there was this article in the Cincinnati Enquirer in 1894, a little ways back. And they little bit, and they actually printed this article. Basically, it was talking about a sandbar on the Ohio River near Vevay, Indiana, where they talk about these two nondescript creatures, and they say horrible in appearance. And they said we could not get close enough to identify the species correctly, but they kind of described it, and it was kind of illustrated to be just kind of like these mermaids that appeared in the Ohio River.
Yeah, I read the article too, and it's well known, it's been reprinted a few times. And it's really interesting. They really love shellfish. And at the very end of the article, it notes that this was not the first time they had been witnessed, but this was the first time that anyone reported on the event of seeing mermaids swimming around the Ohio River.
That's the Cincinnati Enquirer, breaking ground.
Breaking news.
Really breaking news. Breaking news.
Of cryptid sightings.
Of mermaids in the Ohio River.
Yes.
So I took the story, and one of the things I like to do is take elements of the familiar and just kind of mash it together. So one of the things I really wanted to do was just kind of link it more historically with Cincinnati. And I'm very proud that the Cincinnati Underground Railroad came through various routes across the Ohio River, including Cincinnati. So I wanted to combine the two stories, because if you look at just 1894 is when the story came out. The Civil War didn't end until about 1865. And so I just couldn't get the idea out of my head. So I combined the two, where it is a group of runaways. They're being hunted, and they're crossing the Ohio. And that's kind of how the story just got started. And who are these creatures? Are they going to impede? Are they going to hunt? Are they going to kill? I mean, these are the questions. Are they guardians? So that's kind of how I got the script put together. And then kind of my partner in slime, I had to get Dylan. I had to get Dylan Speeg, who I work with a comic book called Mest Comics. And I'm telling you, Dylan, right now, before you get into it, your pages look completely different as far as the art style. I have the art behind me in the background. I think it's a lot more, and Dylan, you could talk to this a little bit more, like a little bit more Mike Mignola, where it's like more, you start with black and then add lightness to it, maybe?
Yeah, that's how I do it. Yep.
Well, what did you think when I came to you with the script?
Well, Jay came to me with the script, and he said, "Hey, do you want to do another, comic, that'd be different than what we've been doing with Mest?" And it was like historical, and I was like, "Yeah, but let's like make it look totally different." So I was excited to just try to do. He said it was at night, so I was like, "Well, I can do this like where I draw with white on top of black, and kind of get that scratch board kind of woodcut look that I've always liked since I was a little kid. And I thought it also kind of went with the time period as well. And it's also a little bit faster. So I can, like, if I don't feel like drawing stuff, I can be like, well, there was a shadow on that. So I thought we could do it a little quicker that way. And I thought it was an interesting project. Jay came up with all of the story part, and I was just basically the guy who kind of had to make it visualize how it happened. But we started working on it right when the coronavirus hit, so it was easy for me to blast through it because I didn't have anything else to do.
Right. No, I love it because the artwork works so well with the Reconstruction era that this takes place in.
Yeah, I think it did work out. I kind of wanted it to have that look, and I've been watching a lot of like I watch a lot of Ken Burns stuff and stuff, so I had that in my head already for that.
Mm-hmm. And I see you have a main character behind you, Jay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like her.
So anyway, I was thinking if I could do a screen share,
yes,
I could show you guys how. It's an interesting process because usually I draw in the main characters first, and then I put the backgrounds in, and then I do all the lettering, and I kind of work it in like that. So I thought it'd be interesting to see how we go through it, and then you can see there where I start to kind of really kind of touch it up, and then put all the text in. And it's really interesting because it goes from this to that, but if you can see, it's still pretty much the same basic idea. And usually this is what I send Jay, and then you can see this is what Jay will send me notes, and this is what we'll kind of come up with. And I was really happy with the way it turned out.
Sometimes in my script writing, I could describe it all day long, and then I'll see his panel. It's like, where did he get that idea? And then I'll go reread the script. And I was like, oh, that's how he got that idea. So it's nice to have the thumbnails just in this collaborative relationship, so then we can be on the same page, literally.
Yeah. And if you see on this one,
I love that page.
It's really simple, and like it's just for what we would say FPO, like for position only. Where I'm just like, this is how I'm going to kind of lay it out. And you can see.
And then, do you remember this note? I was like, I need the mermaid to be like overhead. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And then
I tried to take that into consideration, Jay. Anyway, so then you can see I kind of start putting in each one of the. It's funny, yeah. Like you can see that's really wonky built, and then I was like, I don't know. You see, I'm like, how it's going to look. Then I put the guy in, and then I was like, oh, that doesn't look right. And then I make him look wetter, and now I put a sploosh in there. So obviously,
every pedal needs a sploosh.
Yeah, I put that in there, and I took out that one. So I wanted to look a little bit more menacing than my original idea. And so basically, we start out with that, and I feel like when you start out simple, I can figure out how long it's going to take, and it doesn't make it seem as daunting because I can then. It's like I've drawn the whole thing in an afternoon, not in detail, but I basically know what it's going to look like. So the task doesn't seem as daunting as if I just started panel one and just started drawing. Like, it's easier. It's better if I kind of have a roadmap to know where I'm going, because then it gives me a better idea of how to get there. And also, when we send the little sketches like this to Jay, he can then give me notes better than if I just describing it. So I really like that process, and I even do that when I'm working like with clients from like P&G now, or for like animation. I do the same thing. So
what's also nice is Dylan started doing when he marks up the thumbnails, he'll mark up my notes in red, so I can see. I was like, okay, he's got it. He got my note.
So I think it's
I love the pines. Oh my God.
Yeah, I love that effect.
The way he did the stars.
So
What's getting me is the amount of layers that you're using, kind of like an old school animation.
Yeah, I mean, to go from this to this, and you can see I really thought this, like I wanted, like, let's do it overhead a little bit. So I probably had to look at a model of somebody, and then, over here I'm like, who does that kind of look like? And I'll just try to pick out a star who I think has a different bunch of poses, so I can kind of model it off of them or something. So it works out pretty fun. I think with me and Jay, we've worked on Nest long enough, and now I've been working remotely with people so long that I'm getting pretty good at figuring out how to do things from beyond. So it's definitely like, I like just looking at this. It just took a lot of just to even do the splash.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when we do another story and it'll be in the desert? Because everything we do is like water, wet, gross.
I stopped the share. I was like, well, that's about all I had. So
I'm gonna next story we'll do together will be like in the desert. I'll be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what note to give you. It's dry.
Really,
Everyone's
It's
chalky.
dry. It's arid. There's tumbleweeds.
Oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, there's some things that are really hard to draw without like looking at somebody do it. Like somebody getting out of the car is really hard to draw without like looking at somebody to do it. It's like weird things like that.
What's my favorite line of yours is like,
that's why I just usually use models or
draw a little girl smelling detergent for the first time.
I can draw. That I can. It is amazing how if you put me on the spot, suddenly I will pull some stuff out if the money is right.
I always find people riding bicycles are the most tricky.
Oh,
yeah,
it is kind of hard.
Yeah. Like
now I do, especially now that I'm doing a lot of animation. I had to do somebody getting out of the car. I was like, I'm gonna put the foot coming out, cut to their head coming up above the car.
That is smart.
I cannot get them all the way out of the car.
Brian Hurt, he does a 6-gun, and the script called for him to have a character under a carriage, a horse-drawn carriage, and he's like, there is no reference for the underneath part of the carriage.
Yeah, that is weird.
He was Googling like crazy.
Yeah, that is true.
Where like the axle and the wheels and everything.
Yeah, like I have no idea.
I remember the day I learned about Google Image. I was like, "What? This is." That was like 75% of my trips to the library were to find some picture of a gun or something like that. Like it's crazy.
So what's nice is combining the runaways and combining their story, I think really just gives a nice human angle, because honestly, the myth is just a 3-sentence, 4-sentence paragraph.
Yeah,
That's all
it's short. I don't have my pull-up of the article. Jay, would you happen to have it on hand?
I don't have it. I just have it in text. I mean, and it is just like 4 sentences, and that's all.
Yeah, it's very short. And it ran nationwide.
We're doing it.
It was.
Oh yeah, and it ran nationwide because that helps Cincinnati's reputation.
Well, the digital, when you bring it up in the newspaper archive, the digital copy is from Akron, Ohio, but it originally ran in Cincinnati, which I just love that when you got international and national distribution of little cryptids.
Yeah, it was definitely it was fun for me to work on something that wasn't messed for with Jay, which was, I mean, I work on other stuff with people all the time, but I think this was really fun for us just because it kind of showed that we can totally do a different kind of story and have a whole different kind of look to it. I mean, people were like, oh, so you got this new look now? I was like, I got all kinds of looks, son. I mean, I can draw. As an illustrator, I feel like I have to, instead of being hyper stylized, I feel like I got to kind of figure out what people want and know if I can deliver it or not.
Uh-oh. I think
we got unlimited. I like that.
There we go.
Wow, we could go longer.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, definitely, I'm looking forward to. I really want to see what people's reaction is to this because I find the subject matter really interesting, and I was just really happy to put something together that was I felt like timely, yet still like kind of fantastic and interesting. And Jay just did a great job on the script, and I was really kind of blown away. You know, it's funny because people come to me all the time and they say, "Hey, I got an idea for a comic book," and I was like, "All right, let me see your script." They're like, "Well, I don't know." I was like,
Oh
"Jay,
no.
get it done." I mean, everybody thinks it's easy, but it's probably apparently it's not. I mean, you know, I don't know how to. If I would have been doing this, I'd have been like, I don't know, it's like a mermaid and like they're naked, I guess, and then I don't know, like I don't know how to make it interesting. So
And there's not much description to go off of in the article.
No.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good.
Which actually is a lot more challenge, but also can be a lot of freedom to that. So,
Yes.
Yeah,
I got to introduce a lot more elements from the area into the story, which I really
allowed you to do some world building. And world rocking. What? That's
Mermaids of the Ohio River Part 2.
How could we just make this thing jump the shark hard? That's what I'm thinking.
Oh my
God.
You could get Tim in on this and do the Loveland Frogman visits the mermaids of the Ohio River.
There we
go.
There we go.
Well, I can't, Dylan. I can't wait for you to see Tim's piece. I think he's doing online dating with the mermaid, Loveland Frogman.
Yes, it's very fun.
Perfect.
And what I love about this project is everyone has different ways of talking about the subject matter, because these are all ghost stories and urban legends around Cincinnati and the tri-state. And some people do it more horror, which I love your take, because horror is evergreen and it's a wonderful way to address social issues no matter the time era. So I love your piece because of that. We also have Brandon's piece looks like a Penny Dreadful about the Cincinnati Music Hall. My piece looks very manga inspired about Tadamsville. Tim's is fantastic because it's newspaper copy with the dating for the Loveland Frogman. And then Rodney's is very Twilight Zone with the Loveland Castle. And then, of course, we have Christina, our lovely producer, who has a wonderful piece on Satan's Hollow, which is it's also very cartoony looking like mine and Tim's, but we all have our own spice we're adding to this, which I love.
What I like is I think it really not only shows off the myths and cryptids of the area, it also shows the current talent in Cincinnati, the different illustrators, the different writers, and just really shows we're not all the same. We all have different styles. I mean, honestly, I love that.
Oh yeah. We got strength in our diversity.
That is so nice. I love that. I didn't talk once about anyone else but us.
That's why we do these together.
I love it. Yeah. I was like, look, Tim ain't on here blowing me up. I was like, maybe he is. I don't know.
He's watching. Be careful. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think going forward, I mean, Jay was really mindful to like make it really cool and like make it topical, and I would never have thought to do that. So I thought I was really happy to.
I think one of our book is a little bit more. It definitely has a horror element, but it has more action maybe than some of the others.
I looked at that Bernie Wrightson a lot for this.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So that's because I like his Frankenstein a lot. And I remember we looked at that in college, and I was like, "Well, I suck," you know. So I was like, I can almost draw that good now. Like it's so like.
We looked at a lot of different kind of mermaids interpretations before we combined the elements. Before Dylan combined the elements we talked about into what we have, and
I went with a lot of Gilman from Creature Black Lagoon.
Yeah, that's what it struck me as.
Yeah, and then I tried to like kind of make it seem like I don't know what I think a mermaid would look like if it existed. I don't know.
A manatee?
Sure. I don't know how people would mistake that for it, but okay. I was like, I did see a documentary on maybe mermaids could be true, and a lot of the evidence was pretty non-compelling. I was like, wow, you're really stretching it.
I remember watching that documentary, and there's a lot of jump cuts
There
and
are.
and flat lens flares, if I remember right.
Oh God, yeah, they could be out there. It makes total sense.
It was like watching an Abrams movie.
Yeah.
Like the Star Trek movie.
So yeah,
There was a lot of lens flare. Yeah.
There was a lot. It was like a disco in there.
Hopefully, Jay. Yeah. So I'm excited to see. You know, I was like, if this got picked up, I'm always like, what? How could this? You know, how can this become broader or wider? But I want it to come out just so people can see that we can do other stuff as well, and it's fun to do another style.
Absolutely.
And I was like, and Jay knew to ask me to do it because he knows that if he would have teamed up with somebody else, I would have just ripped it apart. I would have just hated on it really bad.
Can't hate on it when you're in it.
I know, you can't. Disable.
Actually, you can do that. I've seen you do it.
Oh yeah.
Because your favorite, so we always end up talking about the first issue of Mist, and Dylan's like, "Do we need to keep talking about that first issue?"
I look at it now, I'm like, "What a hack!" I know, so like, because I don't even draw it the same anymore. I'm like, that guy didn't know what he was doing at all. Like,
I think all artists have that.
It would be way better than if I looked at it and I was like, "I was so much better then." Like that would be way worse. Like. It would really hurt my feelings. Like, I've gotten so much worse. I mean, like terrible.
Oh yeah, but I think that's a concern a lot of artists have about their own work. Is they just don't want to see photos or images of themselves from before.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I mean, sometimes I like to see, like, God, I'm way better than that now. So I don't know. It depends. Or sometimes I'll see something and I'll be like, that was kind of a cool idea. I don't know why I didn't push that further.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, but most of the time, if it's a good idea, I'm doing it. So that's the way I operates.
It's a pretty good way to operate.
Yeah, I'm like, let's just make this happen. So I think also being able to be fast makes it so I can get it done quicker. So if I have the inspiration, I can get it done. If I was slower, then it might. If I was still working on it now, then I'd be kind of like bored with it. So. I don't know.
Yeah, because if you're bored with it while working on it, people will be bored while reading it.
When we do Mist, you usually use a lot of models for the positioning and everything like that. But you didn't use models for these characters, did you?
Not really. No, I didn't. But you know what I did? I picked out different actors that kind of looked like the people, and then I could kind of like see. Like if they were on a TV show or something, and I could just kind of look at it. So I kind of cheated it a little bit, but I mean, you want to using models is the only way I figured out how to do it.
It's really the speed.
Yeah, I saw a thing with Drew Struzan, the guy who does all like Star Wars posters and stuff, and he was like, he's like, you don't have to trace, but if you want to get it done and make some money, you're gonna trace. So like, I'm pretty sure I was paraphrasing, but yeah, it's something to that effect. I don't know that he got all swaggery with it.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us for our very first interview.
Thanks for having us.
It was a joy. Yes, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone's work together, especially yours with the Cincinnati Cabinet of Curiosities.
Me too.
I think this is issue 1.
More than Tim's. No.
I'm mostly interested in ours, but I heard some other people.
Super interested. I think there's other people.
I want to see that
Super
Tim guy.
interested in yours. Yes. There's this Tim guy. He has something amphibian as well. Not as long as yours. It's only like a page.
I think that the mermaids would eat the frogman from Loveland.
I think you'd be correct.
I think so.
Oh, that should be like a hidden page at the very back of the book.
Mic drop, Tim.
Or Tim. His frogman does not deserve that hate.
No, it's a really good piece. I was laughing my butt off.
Yes. So.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yes. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
What a lively discussion that was. Thank you for watching. And if you want to see more from the Cincinnati Cabinet of Curiosities, you can follow us on social media. It will make Christina pleased. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a good night.